What is up, everybody? It is your boy Farai. Thank you once again for tuning in. Alright, so today I'm going to be breaking down, this is pretty much the 88 Glam recording template, you know what I mean? I'll play a piece of it in a few, but I just want to break down, I always get the same question, do a mastering video. So pretty much I'll give you some opinions and some tips and tricks to get a more cleaner master track, because, having some good stuff on your master bus can really take the idea that you have within the mix to the next level. That's really what a mastering engineer does. Or if you're mastering your own stuff, that's what the intention should be. You know what I mean? You shouldn't just, when I was young, I remember just adding like limiter after limiter just to get it loud. You know what I mean? And louder isn't always better. You want things to be more pristine, more shiny. So enough talking. Let me just play for you what I have, and then I'll pretty much break down our master chain as well as a few little tips and tricks to get a more analog sounding track. So let's get into it.
Say she likes to party on the weekend, baby, make a move. Sipping lean in traffic, cause I really like to feel removed. I don't want no friend, I would rather fill my neck with jewels. Even if it's winter time, I might go drop the roof. Yeah, drop the roof. I might drop the roof. I might drop the roof. I might drop the roof. Say she likes to party on the weekend, baby, make a move. Sipping lean in traffic, cause I really like to feel removed.
Alrighty, so that's cool. So if you want to go watch the full breakdown of this, just go and check out the previous video, I guess. Just check out 88 Glam recording template, something like that. For now, we'll just be focusing on the kind of end chain, our master bus. You can see we got a lot going on, but we're doing so little, just to kind of get those last few things out of it. So if I quickly turn off my master bus, besides the limiters, right? Because obviously, if the loudness changes, we'll perceive it as worse. So let's turn off everything else, and then we'll see what it sounds like.
Say she likes to party on the weekend, baby, make a move. Sipping lean in traffic, cause I really like to feel removed. I don't want no friend, I would rather fill my neck with jewels. Even if it's winter time, I might go drop the roof. Yeah, drop the roof. I might drop the roof.
So really minimal, you know what I mean? Really minimal stuff. But the first thing I want to do before we even break down the master chain, I know I'm kind of, holding you back here, but you can see that I'm actually sending my vocal bus and the instrumental, which are kind of the two main elements of our mix, to these distortion channels. Now the reason I'm doing that, you can see that this is the Air Windows bus colors. As you can see, the bus color again. If I crank these up, you can kind of hear how, how much distortion is brought into the mix, and I'll explain why I'm doing that.
Say she likes to party on the weekend, baby, make a move, sipping lean.
So there you go. I won't obviously damage your ears by playing that for too long, but one thing is, the problem with, digital is that obviously there's no analog distortion that is introduced when we mix our music. So if you are mixing on the console, this is kind of emulating as if we had summed a bunch of tracks, and this was the aftermath, kind of the distortion that is added to our mix. So that's kind of my way of just, getting a bit more depth and just punch out of the mix, you know what I mean? But anyway, let's get to our master chain. So the first thing, this is kind of what I call a MidSide encoder, which I thought about today. Let me give you some source right now. But the one thing I've learned about a lot of mixes, you should pretty much get the isotope, ozone 7 or 6, I guess, from 6 upwards. They have something that allows you to emulate MP3. Now what happens with MP3 is, if you listen to a waveform's top end and then an MP3's top end, with the encoder kind of soloed, you can hear that MP3 kind of degrades the top end. So what I'm doing here is actually just getting rid of it, you know what I mean? Because this is pretty much what MP3 does to the stereo side of a of a full mix, you know what I mean? Here we've got our mono frequencies, which MP3 won't really harm too much, but then here we have our stereo information, which MP3, the way it's written and encoded, is going to sacrifice a bit of. So for me personally, I don't want that to take up space within my mix if it's just going to get degraded. So what I do is I just chop it off. So yeah, I definitely recommend going and reading more about MidSide. It's very complicated stuff if you make it complicated, but it's not really that complicated. This is the patcher plugin. So for whoever's wondering, this is the patcher plugin. I've just made my own MidSide EQ with this blah 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 blah. Alrighty, so the next thing I'm doing is Dave Pensado said this really well. He said that the one thing that digital got right is compression, right? So to me, it doesn't, if I'm not looking for a character style compressor. Now there are lots of character style compressors out there, like the SSL bus compressor, G bus compressor. Those characters add a certain feeling to your mix. Now I think an important thing to do when mixing before mastering is to make sure that you get all the sounds you want in the mix before even adding on mastering effects, you know what I mean? So as you can see, I'm doing some very light compression starting at around -8.9, and as you can see, the attack is 400, which is pretty crazy. So this is kind of a weird kind of character style of compression. If I turn it off, you won't really hear too much.
Say she likes to party on the weekend, baby, make a move, sipping lean in traffic, cause I really like to feel.
In my opinion, what it's doing is just kind of, you know, smoothing the whole mix down, just kind of trimming the kicks and stuff. Unfortunately, this instrumental doesn't have too much punch in it, so that's not really the focus of this mix, you know what I mean? If we were trying to add some punch, we could do something like this, right? So to compensate for the instrumental, let us solo the instrumental. My bad. Here we go. So you should hear that the kick drum gets a bit more kind of punchy. And pretty much what we're doing is expansion. You can go and research expansion. If you're mastering, you should know what all these things are. So yeah, the next thing which is really cool is, let's just get our whole sound back right there, is the, I don't even know, Prime Studio Charlie. I literally just got it and pumped this onto the template, and man, does it sound amazing. You guys should go and Google this. It is free, which is amazing. It's using Acoustica technology. It's high latency, but it is basically almost perfectly replicating analog gear. So this is a summing amplifier basically, and what that does is it just adds a nice analog character. What would our master bus be without a bit of analog character, you know what I mean? So that's what we're doing, and then all we're doing is adding about 0.5 dB of analog drive into our mix, you know what I mean? Because if I kind of bypass that, you can hear the difference very minimally.
Say she likes to party on the weekend, baby, make a move, sipping lean in traffic, cause I really like to feel removed. I don't want no friend, I would rather fill my neck with jewels. Even if it's winter time, I might go drop.
You know, it just kind of adds this kind of crazy silky sound to the mix, and that's the cool thing about analog. It'll always adapt towards what you put into it, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Test this out, go and download this. You must just sign up, and then please download 7-zip extractor, so otherwise you can't extract the folders, which was really complicated for me. It was almost like hacker level stuff just to extract this, but anyway, that's a whole different story. The next thing we're doing is a bit of stereo enhancement. Now the reason why I have two stereo enhancers up here is interesting, right? If you don't have the Waves S1, don't worry about the Waves S1, because you can do what the Waves is doing with this plugin. I just personally prefer what the Wave sound does when it spreads stereo signal. Now, spreading stereo signal basically just means we just, you know, spreading the reverbs a bit more, we're spreading the stereo instruments a bit more. But why are we using this Alex Hilton A1 stereo? You know, obviously we could then, you know, just copy this, you know what I mean, and then just turn the C1 off. But I like the way that the Waves spread stereo signal. But what we're doing with this Alex Hilton plugin is we're actually just turning anything below 108 Hertz into mono, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much just saving our mix, just to make sure that nothing in the bass area is kind of gonna phase or anything like that. So you know what I mean, you can mess around with that. And yeah, all we're then doing, because I've mixed pretty loud, if I turn off this limiter right here, I'm not doing anything on this limiter. This is literally just set to -0.2 to avoid digital distortion. And then this one is obviously just me dropping the level so that I can send this onto YouTube, you know what I mean? So you want to have your mix at -14 and UFS, you can go and check out my video on that. But yeah, that's pretty much my mastering chain for this video. Pretty complicated stuff if you are not too in-depth with effects and stuff, but if you understand it, it's really basic stuff. We're just treating the stereo image of our mix right there. We are just adding a bit of glue compression just to kind of smooth our track out and, you know, stick it together. And then here we kind of enhancing the transients of the song to get a bit more kick out of the track, spreading the stereo image, and then just controlling the bass frequency so nothing below 108 is in stereo. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It is your boy Farai. I hope you learned something pretty complicated, as I say, but not too complicated. Drop a like and subscribe, it is much appreciated, and I will see you in the next video. Feel free to recommend anything you'd like to see. If you like the sound of this template, go and check out my web store. I've got presets for sale and all sorts of cool stuff. If you check out my website, I've also got a lot of free stuff you can download. So until next time, peace out.